guess first of all, in general, to come in here in games 3 and 4 and have to overcome some big deficits in the second half. First game you didn't even have Victor available. Like, what do games like this do for a young team that's really on its first playoff run?
Gives you a lot of takeaways, a lot of feedback on things you got to be better on and improve upon, and try to not put yourself in a position when you got to dig yourself out of a hole. And obviously a lot of really good things that lead to some great competitive responses and comebacks and cutting down deficits and then taking control of the game and finishing the job.
How soon before the game did you know you'd have Victor available?
Yeah, I don't know the time. I mean, it was a long process, obviously, and it had to get, it's not an ankle sprain. So as things are trending, that doesn't mean anything. So to be honest, I don't even know exactly when the final word came down, but just really happy for him to be back out there with his teammates and being able to compete.
How did he look to your eyes physically?
I thought he looked great. Again, him missing time with the circumstances at hand, I knew he was going to come out chomping at the bit, and sometimes that's worked for us well, and sometimes it hasn't, not just with Victor, but just as a team. And I think we have to continue to balance that attack mentality, starting off games while still anchoring to our fundamentals and discipline and game plan execution.
Mitch, what was the biggest adjustment you made at the half?
I think we executed the things that we wanted to start the game on better. There wasn't a ton of new. There was more clarity and doubling down and picking a fight on a few things that we felt like was the right idea, and we needed to do them better as a group and more together.
The second time in this series, Devin's had a big third quarter. What did you see from him in that quarter?
We've been talking about Devin for a few months now, and it's interesting because some of these games I feel like he has such an influence on his stat line or his box isn't always as monstrous as we've known before, 32 points or this and that. Tonight he had 11, 6 rebounds, which we needed every one of them, a couple assists, a steal, a block. But he's just become a staple for us in terms of maturity and a stabilizing force on the court. And he is someone that I think I've started to cling to just when it feels like we need a level of consistency, and he's provided that in a lot of different ways for us.
Obviously, playing postseason basketball at home was one of the firsts you guys went through. Being on the road, first time as well. What do you make of the way the guys just handled a hostile environment, 2 games?
Yeah, I think the games have unfolded in a way that would be pretty clear for us that you can't tiptoe or go into a game with the wrong approach. And on the road, it's probably 4 or 5x that in terms of where the game can slip away and that other team can ride some momentum. And with that being said, they've shown some tremendous gall in the response of where we have been a few times in the second half in the last 2 games, and we got to try to shrink that margin, so to speak, and most specifically raise our floor of level of play, I would say.
It seemed like in the third quarter there was a big strategic shift offensively where you took the ball out of Victor's hands, and then because you were able to pull the centers out, it gave you guys so many completely uncontested layups and so much space, and then when they tried to go small on him, he was able to beat Chris Murray or whoever. Can you explain what strategic shift you made in the third quarter, or what the conversation was like at halftime to try to get those principles established, and why you think it worked so well? Yeah,
no, I would say honestly, Jared, like the answer to the earlier question, there wasn't a big strategic shift. We executed better. We moved the ball better. We set better screens and rolled more, which put more pressure on the rim, and then that opened up things for others, whether that was the person handling, hitting the roller, or then getting off the basketball when we created a crowd with the roll or that initial penetration. And then I think that's where, we have a lot of dynamic guys, but that is a very good defensive team, specifically when you talk about initial action, whether that's guarding isolation or guarding the bounce or just pick and roll in general, because they have great rim protection and really, really good isolation one-on-one defenders. And so we needed some kick acrosses, we need some kick aheads in transition, and then we flowed better, I think, into trying to get some pressure on the rim with rolling, with spacing, and then when we saw crowds, we passed the ball.
How do you feel like De'Aaron's ability to manage space today compared to earlier in the series, and how well do you feel like he figured out the gravity around Victor to kind of create the looks for himself?
Might have been his best game as a Spur. I thought he dominated the game in every way. I thought in the first half when things weren't going our way and we weren't playing well, I think De'Aaron had the disposition that we were looking for. I thought he played the game. I thought he worked the game. I thought he played with pace. I thought his defense was consistent. And when everybody else got on the same page, he took over, then he started scoring. He started spoon-feeding his teammates, and I thought he completely took over the game.
Going back to Victor and knowing what he had to go through to get on the floor tonight, did you find yourself just kind of holding your breath every time he hit the ground and knowing he can't take another blow like that?
I didn't, to be honest. I've learned to trust that young man, and I'm rolling with him, and I think the challenge now is for him to continue to play the way he did in the second half for the whole game. And when he does that, we'll be tough. But if he doesn't do that, there's a ripple effect for our team, and that's the responsibility that comes with being the face of the franchise and the best player.
Hey, De'Aaron Fox, congratulations on your win. I'm sorry, you need a minute to study?
No, you're good. Yeah.
Can you talk to me about when you joined the Spurs early in the season, how you seen Wemby grow just this season? What have you seen him develop on?
I think just in his leadership. He was already extremely talented. We already knew that. We knew that he was already extremely skilled. But I think in using his voice, I think that's the biggest change that I've seen from when I got here last year to the beginning of this year and to now. Like, he's always talking both offensively and defensively, schematic-wise. Just everything, whatever he sees on the court, he's voicing it to us. And I think that's probably been the biggest growth that he's had this year.
How close to tip-off was it when you guys learned you would have Victor available tonight?
Before last game, we kind of find out we didn't know if he was playing or not. But once he didn't play last game, I think we expected that he was going to play today. So there wasn't I don't think anybody was really questioning it.
And what do you think it does for a team young in the playoffs like this team is to come on the road, win 2 games on the road, dig out of holes, have some adversity with injuries, all that stuff?
Yeah, that's big. I think that's big for any team being able to come out and win both games on the road. Obviously, this team, they were playing well, but I think for us, at least tonight, or at least today, not as much in Game 3. I think we dug ourselves a hole because of the way that we were playing. We weren't passing the ball, we weren't moving the ball enough, we were turning the ball over, we weren't taking good shots, and that led to them getting out in transition, living in the paint. When they got threes, it was the threes that they wanted. It wasn't the threes that we were forcing them to take, and that was on us. And I think that's why they had the most. I think that was the most they've had in a half this series. So we knew that when we got in that hole, we just had to figure out a way to play the right way, not necessarily play better. If you don't make shots, it is what it is. Shake their hands, you go the other way. But the way that we got down we felt like all our fault. And third quarter, we played the right way. We fixed that. We kept them out of the paint, and that's why we were able to get back in this game.
De'Aaron, on that note, Mitch was talking about the hole that you were just talking about, and he said that you guys showed a lot of gall, was his word, in coming back. If you started, I know that's not a habit you want to get into, digging those holes, but do you sense a calm or a gall in Mitch's word in this group to be able to battle back from that?
Yeah, we've had leads in the season that we've given up. We've had times that we've been down and we've been able to fight back. Of course, you don't want to get into that habit, but we know that when we're down, we figure out why we're down and we try to fix that. If you get blown out, you get blown out. At least right now, you live another day. But we were able to come into halftime, talk about it, with each other. Obviously, our coaching staff is telling us what they need to tell us, but whenever you're hearing it from guys in the same uniform, you kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say you take it the wrong way, but it's a little different when you hear it from guys that are out there on the court with you. And like I said, we were able to come back here, fix it, take it out on the court, and we fought back in. We got back into this game, and once we got the lead, we kept playing the right way, and that's why we were able to blow the lead open.
Mitch just said that he thought this might have been your best personal game as a Spur. What were you seeing that sort of opened things up for you, particularly in the fourth quarter? Where you
I think just being solid. You know, if I have a three, if they give me space, you take it. If they don't, you try to get to the paint. And if there's no help, you finish. If there is help, kick it out. And I think just trying to play as simple as possible, I think made this game a little bit easier, especially the way that they play. You know, they pressure the ball. They don't necessarily help a lot. I think they force like the least amount of threes in the league. So in game 1 and 2, that was one of our emphasis. We weren't getting the threes that we wanted to take. Or the threes that we were getting throughout the regular season. And obviously a lot of that has to do with their game plan, but we still have to try to figure out ways to generate those type of shots. And we did that, especially last game and in the second half today, we did that.
Devin was talking yesterday about the feeling of being the team on the road in a hostile environment, kind of getting the joy of silencing them. What is that feeling like for you? I know you won a road game in 23. You know, does it ever get old, and does it make it sweeter if you're down a little bit and you see them come alive and then?
Oh, I mean, I don't know what it is. I love road games. I've always been that way. And yeah, in 23, I told those guys, I'm like, and we were on the brink of elimination whenever we did it, and we came in and won by like 25. So, and that's what you're either going to get a desperate team or you're going to get a team who's ready for their season to be over. And at that moment, we were desperate. So. We knew that this would be a big game, a game that they wanted, because they could either go back to our place down 3-1 or go back 2-2 and you feel good about yourself. So us being able to come in and take this type of win, I think that would kind of put our backs against the wall a little bit if you lose this game, go back in 2-2. Obviously, we still have home court advantage, but you feel a little bit differently whenever you go into games with a different outcome.
I mean, Devin used the word villain. Like he loved the feeling of like taking the fun and excitement from the fans. And this is the second game in a row. You guys have flipped the game like so quickly. It's kind of crazy. Do you enjoy that feeling where you feel the air come out of the room?
Yeah, I mean, one, it's a game of runs. Those things definitely happen. But yeah, especially when a team gets up by, I don't know if they were up by 20. Was their biggest lead 20? 19, yeah. Like you feel the electricity in a building, especially in a playoff game when you get up like that. And then you slowly start seeing the lead dwindle down, the crowd kind of goes away, shots start getting a little bit tighter. And I think we felt that. And once, we tied the game up, you start feeling good about yourself. Obviously, as a team, we always feel like we just try to make sure we put ourselves in position to win. And whenever we got the lead down and we went into the fourth quarter, we have all the momentum. It's a tie game, yes, but their shots start feeling a little tighter. Our shots start feeling a little looser because we were able to fight back. And that's the way that the fourth quarter went as well.
Start in English and we'll get to French afterwards.
Vic, the first time talking to you since game
Yeah.
2. To run that back, how scary of a moment was that for you, that injury, and what was the last several days like trying to get back?
Not too much of a scary moment. I think it was always under control. It was it's very, very weird feeling without getting into too many details, being concussed like that. Very weird feeling. But everything was always controlled, and they've taken great care of me. So, been trying to get back on the court, and use all that energy that I had on the court.
Vic, I know you felt ready to come back last game, it seemed. Can you explain the process of what it was like getting clear with the league? And you mentioned to Malika that there were parts you were unhappy about. Can you explain what that means?
I won't get into the details. I don't want it to become a distraction. Ask me again after the end of the season. But again, all the doctors, especially on the Spurs, but the doctors all around, they were great. Took great care of me. But the way the situation was handled was very disappointing. Not on the Spurs again.
How are you feeling right now?
Feeling great. Feeling great. No, I mean, I've been feeling great. Even conditioning-wise, I did some cardio 2 days ago, so I'm fine.
It was similar to the game played without you in terms of digging a hole and working your way out of it. I know that's not a habit you want to get into, but what is it about the way this team handles those situations that enables you to overcome those deficits?
Yeah, we need to find the answers, before having our back against the wall. But that also shows us the strength of our team. In adversity, we stick together. We get closer to each other. We feed off of each other's energy.
When you set out the games, what did you see or what did you learn about yourself or the team while you were watching from the sidelines?
Same thing I just said. We got this connection. I think there's no useless drama in between us, We thrive when we do the invisible efforts that benefit others. There's no jealousy. Nobody cares about their stat line, So it's our greatest strength.
Okay. Will you put into words what playing with De'Aaron Fox has been like? What's he taught you and how he has helped your game develop and grow?
De'Aaron, he makes the game fun because he runs. And we get into so many downhill situations and fast break, and he facilitates a lot, whether it's by his playmaking or his scoring. So he just makes the game fun. It's a very good advantage that we have, his speed and his experience.
Yeah, Vic, we were talking to Devin and De'Aaron yesterday and today as well about playing villain in a hostile environment on the road in the playoffs, and I'm just curious what that feeling is like for you, watching a crowd go from as excited as it was the last couple times to almost silent.
Very satisfying. It has a meaning. And about villain, I think any road team is the villain in the playoffs. Great atmosphere here, though. I was surprised when I was sitting on the bench previous game.
Victor, this is your first road playoff game. There's a lot of strategy involved, and then also dealing with, I know for some people there's pressure being on the road. I don't know if there is for you, but how much did you enjoy the chess match tonight, the way you guys were able to execute in the third quarter, the different things you did to manipulate their defense and create buckets for others and all that stuff?
I enjoyed it very much. It's very interesting. We know so much about them and they know so much about us. The game plan is usually, and including tonight, pretty straightforward. But it's the consistency that we need to have, and also starting the game by applying what we learned.
At what point tonight did they let you know for sure you were going to be able to play? How long did you have to wait?
I want to answer this question.
Anyone else? Right here in the middle.
They, who do you mean by they? And let me ask you a question. Who do you mean by they? Okay, I won't answer.
Just to clarify, it's not the Spurs staff at all. It's the league.
It's the NBA.
The league appointed doctor.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, the doctors on either side were great.
Second time this series, Devin stepped up really big in the third quarter. What have you seen from him?
His impact, a lot of his impact, you don't see on the stat sheet, and he's just been so on point, and especially finishing plays, on both sides of the floor. I'm saying like he jumps so high on every rebound, and I don't know how many rebounds he averages in the regular season and playoffs, but he's just been a great finisher of plays on both sides of the floor.
Victor, c'était quoi le ou la raison qu'on t'a donné en fait avant le match 3 pour te dire t'es pas capable de jouer, tu peux pas encore? C'était quoi la raison?
Il n'y avait pas de raison. Et encore, c'est pas les Spurs qui ont fait ça, mais...
C'était non, mais sans justification, tu veux dire?
J'en parlerai pas plus. Ouais.
Et pour finir, sur la frustration du coup de ne pas pouvoir jouer, comment tu la gères avec ton équipe évidemment, mais aussi en dehors? J'ai vu que tu avais aussi ta famille qui était là. Est-ce que voilà, quelle importance ils ont en fait, ta famille par exemple, pour être là avec toi et te permettre de penser peut-être aussi à autre chose?
Ouais, c'est très bien qu'ils soient là. Sur les jours off, c'est génial de pouvoir décompresser et penser à autre chose. J'ai découvert un peu la ville de Portland, vu qu'il faisait beau. Je sais pas ce que tu en as pensé, mais c'était super, c'était très verdoyant. Ouais. Mais quand il fait beau, mais apparemment ça arrive rarement. Mais oui, non, c'est super de les avoir, de pouvoir décompresser, faire des activités. Et qu'ils soient là à côté du terrain, c'est un bonus.
Et pour finir, sur les 4 premiers matchs, est-ce que tu es rassuré de ce que tu as vu? Tu en as parlé un petit peu en anglais juste avant, mais sur les hauts, les bas qu'il y a eu, les gros déficits de points, les grosses remontées, est-ce que tu es rassuré? Est-ce que tu penses que vous en êtes là où vous devriez être ou pas?
Je suis pas dans un état où je me sens rassuré parce que la série n'est pas finie et c'est que le premier round. Mais je suis pas inquiet non plus. C'est les playoffs, il faut faire le job. Il faudra finir le job dans 2 jours pour le premier round, mais je suis content avec là où on se trouve. Thank you.